Hi, welcome to the 420 Minute. I'm Deneen Glass. Glad you're with me today. I was in Arizona all last week. Flew out Saturday, got back late yesterday afternoon. Part of the reason I didn't do the 420 Minute last week, sorry about that. Got out to Arizona, flaked. Didn't know what time it was, didn't know what day it was. That's a real vacation, right? Flew into Phoenix, spent some time in Scottsdale, some time in Sedona. That was beautiful. The Red Rocks are amazing. The vortexes are really something. If you don't know what I'm talking about, check it out. Then we headed up to Williams and to the Grand Canyon. And I guess I wanted to talk with you today about maybe two of my takeaways from the Grand Canyon. One of them might be a little negative, and one of them is a little more positive. So I'm going to start with the negative. And I'm actually going to start with a verse out of Mark 8. As I was at the canyon, this verse kept popping into my mind, and maybe you'll get it in a second. It's the part in Mark 8 about how Jesus heals a blind man. So when they arrived at Bethsaida, some people brought a blind man to Jesus, and they begged him to heal him. Jesus took the blind man by the hand and led him out of the village. Then, spitting on the man's eyes, he laid his hands on him and asked, "Can you see anything now?" The man looked around. "Yes," he said, "I see people, but I can't see them very clearly. They look like trees walking around." Then Jesus placed his hands on the man's eyes again, and his eyes were opened. His sight was completely restored, and he could see everything clearly. Now, the reason that verse kept going through my head was, I'm just going to give you an example. At one point, my friend Deb and I were at a portion of the rim, there on the south rim, where there were no gates, there were no safety fences, things like that. They really try as much as possible to give you an unobstructed view of the canyon, and it's beautiful. But I was taking my turn, if you will, to take the picture, and it was a little precarious. I mean, I wasn't putting myself in danger, but I was just a couple feet from the edge when this woman came barging through the area, wanting to get her picture, wanting to get her selfie, and nearly knocked me over. I'm still here today, so clearly I did not lose my life at the edge of the canyon. But I walked away from that experience just thinking, okay, lady, are you looking around? You're not the only person here. I was really pretty blown away by so many people's actions that day. It's as if people are not seeing clearly. It's as if people look at other people almost like trees. Something to be avoided, something to be walked around. If you hit it a little bit, big deal. That seems to be a lot of people's attitudes. And in that large of a social experiment, if you will, I was brought very much into the awareness of that reality. All right, so that being said, we're going to try to end on a positive takeaway. And if I'm being authentic, which I try to be always, kind of went out to Arizona with an assignment. I really went out there asking, God, what do you want for my life? If I'm lucky, I got 30 years left. I mean, I'm 50 right now. And so what do you want from me, God? What do you want of me? And I guess up until this trip, that's exactly how I was looking at things. What do you want from my life? But looking at the reality that God has been working on this earth for at least 1 billion years, I kind of began to realize it's not my life. Everything is God's. That's my belief. And so I've heard Leo Giglio say that that's really a flawed premise. You know, what do you want from my life? That it's all God's. And so, you know, what do you want for me, God? Or what is your will? So I guess prior to walking up to the rim of that canyon, I think I definitely tied my purpose in life to what I could achieve. But kind of thinking again about something that Louis Giglio said, he says that purpose in our world is tied to external realities. For instance, you know, what you have achieved in life, how much money you make, maybe what kind of car you drive, you know, what kind of clothes you wear, that the world believes that those are our purposes. But in Scripture, we read that our purpose is really tied to internal realities. It's a spiritual part of our lives. And I walked up to that rim for the first time, and I was literally, my breath was taken away. I felt pressure on my chest. The tears started to flow. I'm really not 100% sure why, other than just maybe seeing the reality of the majesty that is and wonder that is God. I really didn't speak a ton that entire day, to be honest with you. And like I said, as I looked at the evidence in that canyon wall, that God has been at work for probably billions of years. And so while my little life, while my little actions and little doings are very insignificant, they're not unworthy. Otherwise, God wouldn't have given us these things to experience if he didn't think we were, you know, worthy of that. That's my belief anyway. But the insignificance of our cars and our stuff. But that maybe, if I've only got 30 years left, maybe what's most important to God isn't the doing, but the being. I mean, I've alluded to this before for 20 minutes. Coming against that canyon and really realizing how small of a span of time we have made me realize that if anything is going to be lasting, it's going to be our character. It's going to be our integrity. It's going to be the grace with which we deal with other people and deal with ourselves. And I guess I really came to the reality that I haven't had a whole lot of integrity lately. I haven't held myself to the standards to which I believe I should hold myself. I haven't been treating people with grace. I certainly haven't been treating myself with grace. So that's my second takeaway, and it's a deep one. It's a serious one, but I also think it's a good one and a positive one. I'm going to concentrate from here on out on the being. You know, try to put myself in that place again like I was in the canyon, just in awe of the world and the life that we've been given. And instead of racing to the next activity, maybe just taking some time to work on what's inside me, those internal realities. So that's my thought for you this week. I hope it's been a helpful one. I love you. I appreciate you tuning into the 420 Minute. You're the reason I do it. I'd feel a little goofy if I thought I was just talking to myself all this time. So thanks for being here. Make sure to catch us on YouTube, and please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks so much. Grace and peace.